Hello, I'm in Dublin, joining Catholics from all over the world who are here to greet Pope Francis. There's huge excitement as it's almost 40 years since the last papal visit to Ireland. So welcome to Songs of Praise. On the programme, I'm at Croke Park Stadium for the Pope's Festival of Families with a church group from Birmingham.
Do you know how when you win the lottery, this is better than winning the lottery? Yes.
And I meet the head of the Catholic Church in England and Wales, Vincent Nichols, appointed Cardinal by Pope Francis.
He's got this sense of inner peace which allows other people to have their peace and to find their space, but he's tough.
There's another opportunity to find out about Ireland's holy mountain, Prt1, and to see the group Celtic Woman perform in front of it on Clew Bay. The last Pope to come to Ireland was John Paul II in 1979. It's been a long wait, but Pope Francis is finally here, and people from all over the globe are in Dublin to greet him. Brenda Drum has been busy for almost a year planning the Pope's visit.
He is a Pope of the family, and he's becoming as well the Pope of young people in terms of how he speaks. He speaks in a very conversational way. He seems to have a way to kind of break through a lot of isms and ologies to really get his message across, and I think that's what's touching people's hearts.
Our first hymn comes from Dungannon in County Tyrone, and it reminds us that it's the love of Christ that can help give us the strength we need throughout life's challenges. Here in Croke Park, we're waiting for the Festival of Families concert to begin and, of course, for the Pope himself to arrive. And I'm delighted to say I'm with 20 very happy families who have travelled over together from the Archdiocese of Birmingham.
I'm going to see the Pope. It's just so exciting.
Do you know how when you win the lottery, this is better than winning the lottery? Yes.
It's also like it because it's once a lifetime opportunity.
It's been absolutely amazing just to meet and show the children what it means to be part of the wider Catholic family.
This concert is a highlight in the Catholic Church's World Meeting of Families, which happens every 3 years in a different city around the globe. The Hopes are one of the families here from the Archdiocese of Birmingham, made up of Mum Tina, Dad David and their 8 children. During the earlier conference part of the event, they were reminded of some top family tips.
Eat together, pray together, take time to be with each other and enjoy each other. We've had such a lot of pleasure from having our family. They're better at nearly everything than I am, so, you know, I've got some lovely talents among them.
You mentioned about praying together. How important is faith in your family life?
You know, we would try to keep Christ at the centre of everything, and that's something we've been encouraged to do here.
Lucy, you're away at university now. Lovely to come home and immerse yourself in the family again, I'm
It's
sure.
very different because at university, you know, I've got my own room, my own space, and then I come home, I'm sharing with my sister. There's children everywhere, which is really lovely. I do really enjoy it. I do miss them when I'm gone.
Now tell me, living in a big family, it's a lot of fun. But what are your top tips, Jude, for a healthy family life?
Don't let them get on your nerves because you can start an argument and then a fight and then the whole family will turn against each other.
I bet that's never happened to you.
I couldn't. If it has, I can't remember.
Oh, well, that's good. That's a good sign.
You know, family life is a wonderful gift that's been given to us. And the strength and the struggles we have as a family, if you use your faith to build and work, and it's like the mortar in bricks. We are the bricks. God and my faith is the mortar that keeps us together and keeps us strong as well.
I'm really enthusiastic about seeing the Pope because where the Pope is, there is the Church. Jesus said to St. Peter, you are Peter and on this rock I've built my church. And that's the same for the popes down the ages. He's got a special message for the Church and we gather round him as the Church, the family of families.
One of the speakers here is Cardinal Vincent Nichols, who became head of the Catholic Church in England and Wales in 2009 and works closely with the Pope. You've been in his presence. What is he like?
Oh, he's as tough as old boots, actually. And yet, you know, with a great warmth and a great ability to give people space. I mean, I've heard people criticize him fiercely in his presence. And I said to him one time afterwards, that was a bit tough. He said, that's okay. They can say, I don't mind, they can say what needs to be said from their point of view, and we'll get on. So he's got this sense of inner peace which allows other people to have their peace and to find their space. But he's tough. He wants us to get things right.
One of the Pope's main messages in Dublin has been about the abuse of children and young people by some of those working for the Catholic Church.
I cannot fail to acknowledge the grave scandal caused in Ireland by the abuse of young people by members of the Church. The bishops, the religious superiors, the priests and others who did not address adequately these repellent crimes.
It's a shock to me that that evil has found a place, has found a lodging in our home of the Church, but it has, and we've got to get it out. This isn't good enough, and we've got to do better. And there's no question of his determination. It's touched him personally, and he knows, because this is a great evil that destroys people's lives from the inside.
Our next hymn reassures us that whatever our circumstances, God the Father loves and cares for us all.
I've heard 1,000 stories of how they think you're alive, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell tasting that I'm never alone. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Well, I've seen many searching for answers, far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. It's who you are. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am.
In County Mayo, in the west of Ireland, the holy site of Knock Shrine has been specially renovated for Pope Francis's visit. Sean Fletcher went to find out what makes it so popular.
In the middle of this tiny village with a population of less than 1,000 people is one of the most spectacular sights in Ireland. This is no ordinary parish church. I'm joined by Father Richard Gibbons to find out what happened in the 19th century that led to this tiny village becoming a place of worldwide pilgrimage. Father Richard, tell us what's happening here.
Well, this represents the apparition that occurred on the 21st of August 1879. Rainy evening, surprise, surprise, at 8 o'clock in the evening, some people saw a bright light at the gable end of the parish church, which is what you're in front of here.
So this was outside?
This whole area was outside. And they saw it was identified as Our Lady, St. Joseph, St. John the Evangelist, and right at the centre of the apparition itself was the altar, the lamb and the cross, surrounded by what was seen to be angels. The apparition lasted 2 hours. There are 15 official testimonies from the local parish here.
And this is what they would have seen?
This is exactly what they would have seen, because the apparition lasted so long, they were able to examine it in absolute minute detail. So people got to hear about it. It was reported in the newspapers, and people just started coming then. In fact, there were pilgrimages from Canada and Australia within a year or two. Of course, immediately after the apparition, there were many testimonies as to miracles that would have taken place, cures, and people that said that they would have received their sight again and that kind of thing. But you do see very old photographs with the wall here festooned with sticks and crutches and all of that as a testimony to people who would have perhaps received a cure.
Next door to the shrine is this remarkable basilica, built in 1976. It's recently undergone a massive refurbishment in preparation for Pope Francis's visit this weekend. Well, it's an amazing place, but there's one thing you just can't miss, and it's up there.
And that's the mosaic. It's one of the largest single pieces of mosaic on a single flat surface in Europe. It depicts the apparition, of course, of 1879. And what we incorporated, which hasn't been really done before, are all the witnesses that came out on the evening of the apparition itself. And these are people that came from various different parts of the village to see the light at the gable end. This is a special, unique, sacred place where people can come. There's an interaction, there's a connectivity, there's a religious dimension.